Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. In the last part, we got stuck in the past section of the Mermaid's Cave, so here we are in the present section, and now we're gonna go on through. Now, first off, we don't have a map, so let's get on doing that immediately, which is really easy to do, because the map is actually in this next treasure chest coming up right here. Let's take a look at what we're at. If you look carefully, you can see the two floors from the past section actually fused together for this. And actually, it's going to go really quickly because, while it's split in between the two timelines, the dungeon itself is actually really short if you know where you're going. This is actually a really weird section. This is the only time something like this happens in the game, if I recall correctly, where you downright change the floor layout when you hit a button. Something similar did kind of happen in Link's Awakening, but, yeah. Anyway, this is a rarity. This is the only time in both Oracle games you use the scent seeds for their scent purpose so that you can bring those ropes into the pit to get a small key. As far as I can remember, that is the only time you do something like that in both games. And needless to say, I got stumped there in my first playthrough because I didn't know the scent seeds did anything but damage enemies. Oh, that's another annoying thing about the seed shooter. You can only shoot one seed at a time. Needless to say, I'm not a fan of that design mentality. Now, in this room, it's a bit cryptic on what you have to do right off the bat. You actually have to bomb in between these blocks. Mind you, if you remember the past area, you would realize that you could actually be in this room from above, so you just need to do some basic, remembering, but, it still stumped me for a bit. Oh, I hate this puzzle. Or at least I used to. Pretty much, you have to make the dice face the color of the panel that you want to land it on up top. Honestly, it's not as hard as it looks once you realize, oh wait, this is just constantly rolling the dice in circles until you get the right pattern. The only one that's kind of tricky on how to get is the blue one, because you don't roll it in a... well, not really a circle, more of a square, but you get what I mean. You just need to kind of do a zigzag pattern towards it. And for doing that, we get another small key. You know, here's a question for you guys. Can you tell if there's a musical difference between the two areas of this? Because I swear that on and off throughout the years, I can tell there's a slight difference throughout this in both versions of this track. I'm not sure if that's just my brain playing tricks on me, and if it isn't, well, that should have been a thing, because having different music for areas past and present has been a theme so far, so why they don't do it here, I'm not sure. Anyway, the rotating platforms are back, and this section's really tedious because you have to constantly circle back upon yourself in order to get yourself in the right direction. Though at the same time, it, kind of reminds me of a dungeon from Seasons. I want to say it was the final dungeon. No, not the final dungeon. Second to last. Yeah. Because, but then again, the entire area just does because of the whole purple tint going on. You'll see what I mean when I get to Seasons fairly soon after this. Also, speaking of games after this, one thing I find kind of funny is that I said I wasn't going to do more Mega Man for a while due to the fact I just kind of did 3 or 4 games in a row of it. But one thing I completely forgot about is that those are Capcom games and so is this. I don't know why Nintendo had Capcom make the, or at least develop the Game Boy Zelda games, but they did, and I'm honestly really glad they did, because these came out fantastically. As did Minish Cap. It's also why, Varen looks a bit like Burkana, or vice versa from Extreme 2, as I mentioned back in that Let's Play. Anyway, it's time for the mini-boss.
I'm Vire, Varen's loyal henchman. I heard someone was trying to stop Varen, so I came here. But it's just some kid.
Fine, I can handle you, and he means that. Vire here is the hardest mini-boss so far in the game. What he likes to do is fly all over the screen, shooting various pellets at you. You can block pretty much all of them with your sword, but the variety of them and how fast he can throw them out at you is kind of disorienting. One thing I recommend doing is constantly having a charge shot, spin attack charged up, and have the Rock's Feather equipped so you can jump over most, if not all, of his projectiles. If I recall correctly, wasn't Vire a boss in Link's Awakening? Or was I thinking of something else? No, he was in Link's Awakening as a cameo from A Link to the Past, that's right. Because he's the one who gives you the, something in Link's Awakening. He gives you the double magic meter in Link to the Past, but I can't remember otherwise. But honestly, he's just time-consuming, really. If you're playing Oracle of Ages 2nd, you do actually get a fun little minigame with him after, I think, the 2nd or 3rd dungeon, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, yeah. In this phase, all I have to do is jump and then slash the bats. Oh, and by the way, Vire is actually a reference to Zelda 1. He's the giant purple bat guy from the original game. And I hate this room. It's not a hard room, it's just really tedious. What we have to do is throw a bomb at that block and have it explode just in time before it falls in the pit. That took me about a minute and a half. But it was worth it, because in here we get the dungeon's item, the mermaid suit. Now we can swim in deeper water. Use the D-pad to swim, and B to dive, and A to use items. This is actually one of the few Zelda games that actually has a different way of swimming other than just swimming. Well, actually no, Majora's Mask did as well. And I love it for that. Oh, the Zora Link controls are so good. And now we're really just treading through familiar territory. The one thing that's kind of annoying about the hot heads, or candle heads, or whatever they're called here, is that when they get faster, they are kind of tedious to avoid. Oh, and also, get the Rock's Feather out. Why? Because we got giant blade traps. They're not that hard to dodge, but if you get trapped, you can jump over them. So that's a thing. Anyway, you need to switch hook over there, because that's how you get over to this side, which you need to be on if you want to get the compass. Oh, sweet, only one chest, technically 2 left in the area. This is a rather standard dungeon segment, honestly. Just do your basic platforming and you should be good. Now you could go up there through the locked key, which you need... locked key, yes. That'd be the most evil thing ever, a lock on a key. Holy boy. You could go through the locked block, rather, but I'd want to come down here and get the 10 rupees because I like completing dungeons. Though, mind you, that 10 rupees isn't really worth it because I can get that much just from killing 3 enemies outside, but oh well. Anyway, this is a really odd room. It's a reference to A Link to the Past. Right before the Sanctuary, we need to pull one of these, and one will make ropes, one will cause a chest to appear. However, this time it's randomized, and I mean randomized each time you pull them. So essentially, about 2 minutes later, I finally got the chest to appear instead of just swarms of ropes, and I got the boss key. Now, I'm not actually going to show you the trek out, aside from one thing, because we're actually done in the present segment of this dungeon. We're never coming back to this area. The only thing I need to show you is that to get out, you might not realize you need to use the Cane of Samaria, though I think you can possibly use the Pegasus boots. Now, immediately outside the dungeon, we can use the mermaid suit in order to dive in here. The mermaid suit control is kind of weird. You have to mash the D-pad in order to move anywhere, but over here you get the magical ring, which turns out to be the toss ring, if I recall correctly, which I think either doubles or multiplies by 1.5 your throw distance. Ooh, hi, Maple! Ooh, and she's zigzagging, that's always a good thing to see. And she's on a vacuum cleaner, and the heart piece! And it's in a place I can't get it. Damn you, Maple! I can't get anything aside from that ring down there, but oh well. Screw you, Maple! I screamed when that happened, I'll be honest. Anyway, now we're back in the past segment of the area, because now we can finish this dungeon off for good. And good, because honestly, this is a dungeon, while I like the whole past-present thing that it has going on for it, it's actually the only dungeon in the game that does that, by the way. It's still really annoying, because honestly, I don't like water dungeons that much. It's not the worst offender in the series. I think, for first-timers, the worst water dungeon is actually Great Bay Temple. But it's still kind of bland. Anyway, where I'm heading now is actually a very familiar area. I did this last part, unlocking this little section here. But now we can head down here. The one thing I can say, though, is if I'm actually seeing it correctly... By the way, if you want to use the sword underwater, it needs to be on the A button. Due to the way that the mermaid suit works, I think because you're mashing the button so much, you actually move slightly faster than your normal walking speed, but that could just be my eyes playing tricks on me due to Link's animation. Anyway, this is a really odd room. Those pits that are around here, I believe, throw you back into that 2D section we were just in. Well, they're all 2D sections. Platforming section we were just in, and all these weird-looking floors actually push you in that direction. It's a current, essentially. But it's all worth it, because over here we have a very simple room. Just kill these 2 ropes, and a chest appears, which contains a small key. Booyah. One weird thing about the game is that when you're underwater, you have this weird little wavy effect going on in the foreground that causes everything to warp slightly, as you can probably tell. That even happens to text boxes. Oh, Game Boy Color programming. I love you so. Anyway, let's get the sword back on the B button, because that's natural to me. Oh god, Link to the Past, when I do that's going to be really awkward, because that's matched to the B button automatically, if I recall correctly, right? I actually don't remember. It's been forever since I played A Link to the Past, honestly, on the Super Nintendo at least. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 16 we'll be finishing this Forsaken Dungeon off. See you guys then!